I've been climbing for over 18 months now, but I've only ever bouldered indoors at the gym. So when organic climbing hooked me up with some bouldering pads, I took a trip to the Scottish Glens to find out what this so-called outside is all about. This is my experience with outdoor bouldering.
Instant blood.
That was absolutely terrifying.
Just... Can you imagine just... Oh! I have no idea how I get down.
When blathering to people in the gym about trying bouldering outdoors, most conversations shared a theme. You're going to get schooled. Outdoor bouldering has a reputation for being hard, sandbagged, committing, and unforgiving. I set out to see if there's any truth behind these tales, or if the gym rats are being a bit hyperbolic. Despite the warnings, I was feeling confident. For many people, the first kind of outdoor climbing they will have tried will have been bouldering, and that's an enervating way to get acquainted with real rock. Me, I had a gentler introduction. I've been climbing on ropes for a year now, dipping my toes into low-consequence outdoor sport climbing with top roping and easy lead climbs. I was hoping outdoor bouldering would provide a convenient and interesting way of training for hard routes. The first issue I encountered, however, had nothing to do with the climbing part of it at all.
Okay, we've arrived at Glen Clotha, a gorgeous glen in the Cairngorm National Park. Behind me is Peel Block, which is a classic boulder, and I've got the Boulder in Scotland guide, and it doesn't have a topograph, which I did not expect. Every sport climbing guide I've used has a topograph. That is a picture with lines going up it that show you where to climb. This doesn't have that. Instead, it has words that describe what to do. Sit start at the left of it. What's left? Like, left depends on which side I'm on, right? Well, it has 4 arêtes, because it's kind of like a, yeah, like, I cannot make head or tail of this guidebook.
After a short hike to make sure we weren't at the wrong boulder, I resorted to just making my own problems up.
I'm gonna forget the guidebook and I'm just gonna make my own up. It's definitely been climbed before, and it's definitely not the right boulder, but I don't know what else to do. Do you know what else to do? No. Nah, let's do it. My rules are hand there and there. Don't know where my feet are gonna go. Then, if I was gonna fall, I would fall here. Something like that. It's not warmed up. Don't know the climb, don't know the grade, never done it before. It's raining, it's windy. I think maybe there. Oof, that was actually quite hard. Right.
Once I'd topped my epic first boulder, all I had to do was downclimb or jump 2 meters to the ground.
I did a thing. I have no idea how I get down.
It's footage like this that makes me question whether I'm even cut out to be a climber.
How did you get down from this boulder, Tobes? I've always wondered how boulderers do this, and it turns out it's just as big a faff as you think it would be. It's a proper down climb, man.
You put a palm there and a palm there.
This is horrible.
I know.
Why? I need to get a belay device and a rope.
You could just jump.
I'm like fully stuck. I'm stuck on a stupid boulder.
Just stand up and walk your
I don't understand, but which way am I even facing?
facing this way.
I'm going to break my ankle coming down. The rock's getting wet, I'm getting upset. This is a disaster. I feel like on this climbing channel, all I do is bitch and moan the first time I try something, and then there's like a redemption arc where I find it fun in the end. But this is...
It's a bit rainy today.
It's a bit rainy. And everything's really hard. I got stuck up at the top and couldn't get back down.
You're so cute.
I'm a sponsored climber.
Speaking of sponsorship, let's talk about those pads, as this episode is actually sponsored by Organic Climbing. I spoke to a number of boulderers before filming this video about what pads I should get, and the name Organic came up time and time again as they are synonymous with quality and durability. I got myself a full pad and the hyper useful briefcase pad. Using the pocket flap, you can carry these together and have your hands free for hauling even more stuff to the crag. I also love the hip belt that really distributes the load and saves your shoulders on longer hikes. What is immediately noticeable is the build quality. Bouldering pads really have a hard life, so these organic pads are solid everywhere you want them to be, whilst having just the right feel, so you don't touch the ground but you also don't simply just bounce off the pad. They actually use a proprietary foam that doesn't flatten after repeated landings, leaving your bouldering pads all baggy and flat. If you do damage the pad, Organic designed their products so every component is field replaceable. So gone are the days of buying a new pad every season. Simply order a new buckle or foam and replaced. But the best bit is they are totally customizable. Pick your colours when you order for your own one-of-a-kind pad. Organic Climbing is owned by one guy, Josh. He focuses on building products that are made from all recycled materials in the USA in a workshop that's solar powered. So if you want the most sustainable and durable bouldering pad out there, check out Organic. Order any crash pad now, as one of the next 100 orders will randomly win a free half pad. Just check out the link in the description. And thanks to Organic for saving my butt. Alright, so what's going on here? Why am I being such a wuss? Well, the weather sucked and we had to leave early, but there were two underlying issues. I was terribly confused by the written description of the problems, but most of all, I was scared of the landings. I thought it would be just a perfectly flat field with ideal landings where I could just stick a pad and feel safe. But, well, we're not in the gym. The landings are all angled weirdly with ankle rolling rocks littered everywhere. Jumping down is no longer just a reflex action from the top. It's more of a considered exit strategy. Either that or you top out and stop about the down climb. So I waited for some better weather and thought I'd try again.
Here we are at Glen Lednock, sort of classic Scottish bouldering area. So this is a V1, I think. So I'm going to warm up on that. I think that should be alright. Try not to smack my head off that. I think font 5 is V1. These are actually probably not as good as you might think. Like, kind of blocked. I kind of get why route setters do that now, block crimps, because this would be just bomber if it wasn't blocked by that. So thank you all route setters. So I don't know what I'm doing with pads, so I'm going to put that there. I'm going to put the baby one, the suitcase one, there. That should be fine. So I've been told that I'll get absolutely crushed outside. So if I think I'm a V5 boulderer indoors, I've heard people say that you might actually end up being a V0 outdoor boulderer. Or that outdoor bouldering requires so much getting used to that you could be right at V0. So I'm hoping it's not that bad. I'm hoping that I can get up V1. I think I sometimes focus a little bit too much on grades. I need to focus on being outside and enjoying not being at a desk. Yeah, that was a pretty desperate start actually.
Okay, let's talk about perceived difficulty. These two boulders are graded V1. I feel like if they were in a gym, they'd be hard for the grade, but not so bad that people would complain.
That's lovely.
This V2 felt extremely hard until I figured out that I needed to heel hook the whole traverse before topping out. But that's not where the difficulty came from. The boulder was hard, but I felt it was even harder because of the landing. Below the boulder was this horrid skull breaker stone. When topping out, you get quite bunched up, and I was really scared that if I dropped it there, since I didn't know what the handholds were like, that I'd fall backwards.
That was absolutely terrifying. Like,
Are you okay?
I thought you were supposed to fall all the time in bouldering, but I can't fall on that. I'll break my back. Like, the pads cushion your landing, but they don't stop you folding in half from like a shark fin rock. Let me just show the audience what is behind here. Just can you imagine just, oh god, can you imagine dropping it, right, and just be like, you know that bit in Paranormal Activity where the ghost like breaks the guy's back and just folds him backwards?
Yeah.
That's what would happen to me.
So risk made the problem feel harder. But this V3 had very little risk and still completely crushed me. This boulder felt way harder than other V3s I've tried in the gym, to the point where I was convinced I was trying the wrong boulder.
No, it's just impossible. Oh no, it's impossible.
It would be easy to say that outdoor grades are simply sandbagged, or that gyms are just soft, and that I believe sometimes is true, but there's a bit more to it, I think. For starters, for a noob like me, sit starts outdoors are just weird and awkward. Sometimes your feet are so far in front of you, you're almost horizontal before you start. That's a really rare position in the gym, and I find it really hard to get started from sit starts outside. Gym holds also just don't get as polished to the degree that rock does on popular routes. Perhaps a route was V4 years ago, but it's so slippery now that it just feels way harder. Remember that route setters have to try to be inclusive for people of all heights too. Setting boulders that are difficult just because they're reachy is simply lazy route setting. But making them inclusive for shorter people means that invariably someone will cheat the boulder using extra holds or will do something the route setters didn't expect. Outdoors? Well, the rock doesn't care how tall you are. And finally, I think that gyms probably err on the side of soft because, well, we all have egos here, and crushing the weekend warriors on the warm-up routes is probably not good for business. However, what I learned making this video, which is premised upon grades, is that the best way to enjoy bouldering outdoors is to ignore the grades. For almost everyone watching this video, grades probably don't matter that much anyway. It's a poor way of tracking your performance as, at the lower end, V5 and below, they're so overlapping that they feel almost arbitrary. When I was having the most fun, I was simply trying something that was hard for me, and that's it. Take this mantle, for example. It's graded V5 with no handholds. That felt utterly impossible, but using everything available to me felt about the right difficulty for a mini project.
Yep. Oh, it's getting harder. Yeah.
Come on, that's good. Yes. Yeah, there it is. Keep going. Yes.
Fuck. That was so hard.
And I was absolutely psyched at topping out. The variation I did doesn't even have a name or a grade, so I'll just give it V8.
Perfect.
This traverse took me almost all day to get because of its tricky feet and slopey hands, but I could try and try since I wasn't falling from height. Rather than get bummed out that it's only given V3, which is an absolute sandbag by the way, the footholds on the arete are absolutely non-existent. I'm just chuffed to bits that I got the sequence down and topped out.
Yeah. Oh. Yes!
Since I never do dynos, this felt like a win, even though it only gets V1. Even better than ignoring the grades is to ignore the guide entirely. Just make up your own problems, eliminating this or that to tune difficulty to suit your session. When I finally gave up chasing grades or adhering to the guidebook, it felt truly liberating. And outdoor bouldering is the closest recreation you can get to that sense of freedom of just being a kid and climbing up that thing for the hell of it. So bouldering outdoors, is it harder? Are gyms soft? Yes and yes, but that's kind of missing the point. If you enjoyed this video and want to watch more, check out one of the videos on screen now, and subscribe for more bouldering, trad, and sport climbing content. Thank you very much for watching.